Right.
But I'm gonna try a few more days. You got somebody that wants the business?
Yeah, Gage, it's called Gage, G-H-E, they're huge.
Oh, if I can't get that Garden City guy at the end of the day, it won't respond.
Let me know.
But he has engaged that one of the companies. Okay. Would that be a good replacement for the Garden City guy?
Yes, that'd be a, this guy has a diverse background there, I think that's probably the way.
You want a company that actually
Got in somewhere.
do they're in a lot of places.
I just think we want, from a perspective of local agencies.
I want to see the state of the union tonight, so I feel.
How about English?
I'm okay with that.
Talking to the wrong group. We're with you.
As long as he's got a good background for it, I think he's got the local knowledge and stuff like that.
Oh, they've sold they've got quite a few facilities over there. So, I'll ask them.
Yeah, well, yeah, that'd be good. I know we just try to lock somebody down for Friday.
Well, that would be a viable replacement for the Garden City. I gotta say, you can talk about how they operate, get them in town.
Yeah, they can.
If I can't get him tomorrow, I'll call you, and then you can get that Morency guy. Okay, that's easy. Yeah, the city manager. City manager, okay.
Me too.
Thank you, everybody, for coming to Dundee's Village Council meeting tonight. I really appreciate it. We all do. May we have a call of order, please?
President Burdine,
Here.
Trustee Hickey,
Here?
Trustee Polito,
Here.
Trustee McClendon,
Here.
Trustee Reeves,
Here.
Trustee Horky. Here. Trustee Schroeder,
Here.
Manager Ewell.
Here.
Could we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve tonight's agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Number 5, approval of the minutes of budget workshop, January 20th, 2020. Is there a motion to approve the budget workshop of January 20th, 2020?
Tim, you can put them all together.
I'll put them all together, okay? B, the regular meeting, January 21st of 2020, and C, budget workshop, January 28th of 2020. Is there approval of all those minutes that I just mentioned?
So moved.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to support the approval of the budget workshop of January 20th, 2020, the regular meeting, January 21st of 2020, And C, the budget workshop, January 28th of 2020. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Petitions and communications, 6A, the 2019 VIPS annual report. Randy, would you like to say something, please?
I sure will. Oops. Mr. Yule, President Bordine, and council members, I'm here tonight pleased to present you with our 2019 annual Volunteers and Police Service Programs annual report. We have 14 current members in our VIPS program, and they come from not just here from Dundee. We have VIPS members that reside in Ida and Temperance and Lenawee County and even Sylvania, Ohio. So I'm thankful to all these people that want to give back to our community on a regular basis. I'm going to call up one of our members right now. It may be a familiar face to many of you. Pastor Brad, would you come on up? Brad Luck. Ask Brad to model our VIPS uniform for you tonight. So the VIPS team is an unarmed and uniformed support organization of the Dundee Police Department. The members of the VIPS program give up much of their own free time to better serve our community. The VIPS members serve many roles, including visitor assistance, parking and traffic direction during community events, department errands, checking on the elderly or those with special needs or needing regular visits, as well as property checks for vacationing residents. Many of the donated hours occur during parades or other special events which fall on major holiday weekends throughout the year. While many of us are enjoying time off with our family and friends, these dedicated volunteers step up year after year and help out the village of Dundee to shine. The VIPS program is self-sufficient. The members host a golf outing each spring to raise funds to pay for their own uniforms and equipment. And with the remaining funds, the organization continues to give back by providing thousands of dollars to the Dundee Police Shop with a Cop program every Christmas, and recently provided a free luncheon for the residents of 501 Rawson. I'm very proud to serve as a supervisor of this team, and I request that you, council, join me in the audience and a grateful community for thanking these volunteers for a job well done. Thank you, Pastor Brad. Next is going to be Sergeant John Olet, who's going to give you a report on the reserve program.
Evening, Manager Yule, Council. Sergeant John Olet, Dundee Police. I'm pleased to provide you with our annual Dundee Police Department's Reserve Officer Report. The 6 reserve members we have volunteered over 1,200 hours during the 2019 calendar year. An average base rate of $20 an hour for a police officer, that means the village saved over $24,000. Reserve officers are graduates from a certified Michigan Reserve Police Academy before becoming a reserve. These officers are trained and armed and have limited police authority while working in conjunction with a certified police officer. The members of Dundee Police Reserves give up much of their own free time to serve this community. The reserve officers serve many roles in addition to ride along with our regular officers. The reserve officers also assist with details such as local parades, trick-or-treat nights, school events, Shop with a Cop, and larger scale events like the Mayfly Festival. Many of the volunteer reserve hours occurred during major holiday weekends. We truly appreciate their service throughout the year in helping Dundee Police Department and the Village of Dundee. Their presence keeps us safe. I'm proud to serve as a supervisor of the reserve officers. In closing, I request that any reserve officer in attendance please stand up and be recognized. I think there's only one here. Steve Johnson. Steve actually worked over 500 hours, donating 500 hours his own time this year. That's all I have. Thank you.
Is there any questions for John? No. Could you tell the audience how many hours that you strive for when the VIPs and stuff, they try to do 40 hours a month?
No, we don't strive for anything. Whenever they can donate their time, they come in. They're more than happy to help, like I said, with the special events, especially the Mayfly, the extra manpower deters a lot of problems, I think, so.
And I suggest that anybody, when you go on vacation, to come here to the front office here and sign up. And the officers, I've used this myself when we went on vacation to Disneyland. The officers not only just come to your house and drive by, my neighbors told me that they got out of their car, they had the flashlights, and there was a snowdrift and stuff a couple years ago. The footprints were in the snow, and it was really good to know that you can go away from home and have the VIPs and reserves.
Right. They can also
Make you
request
safe.
vacation checks and stuff online. We have the forms. That's one of the things the VIPs do too.
Okay. Thank you very much,
Thank
John
you.
and Randy. Thank you. Is there any citizens' comments on tonight's agenda?
Hello, my name is Sarah Rathko, and I'm from Cooley, Hale, Sabo, and Calkins. We are one of the firms that have bid on your audit. I just wanted to come up and introduce myself. In the past, you've always worked with Jim Cooley, and I'm sure many of you know that he retired last year. I know one of your concerns is how many years our firm has been doing your audit, and I just want to assure you that you will be getting a fresh approach and a fresh set of eyes should you select us for your audit this year. If you have any questions when you're going over the bids, I'm here, so please don't hesitate to ask. And thank you for the opportunity to submit our proposal.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
submitting it. Is there any other questions on tonight's agenda items? Is there any other questions on tonight's agenda items? Hearing none and seeing none, a motion would be in order to accept tonight's petitions and communications and place on file.
I move that we accept the petitions and communications and place them on file.
Okay.
I'll second.
There's been a motion and it's been seconded to support tonight's agenda and place on file. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Now, we have the legal update. Fred?
Nothing to report as of this time.
Is there any questions for Fred on any legal updates? I have one request by a business owner. I think we've talked about this before, that the American Water Company that is doing the water and sewer thing for Dundee, that they're saying that they received, that one of his clients received a letter that still has the Dundee logo on it. And I believe this has been going on for almost 2 years. I thought at previous meetings that we were going to try to address that. Am I correct, or?
Well, you are correct, but I think what had occurred, if you'll remember that it was what had occurred was that we had, at one point, voted to withdraw from the program, then I think we voted to go back into it again. I've talked to Dave, and I saw and Mike also, Trustee McClendon had given me a copy of a document that he had received. And I understood that Dave was going to be getting in touch with the company to discuss, because the problem wasn't that they were using our logo. The problem was in the manner in which the envelope came, which gave the impression that it was coming as an official document from the village. Because we had voted to allow them to continue to forward with the agreement that we had, which basically says that they can utilize our logo, but that, obviously that they are not, we are not paying for, they are not paying us, we are not paying them, and that we can get out of the deal whenever we wanted to get out of the deal. So that's my understanding of what's occurred, is that Dave was going to contact them with regards to the placement of the logo on the envelope itself. That was the issue. But as far as the program itself, we had voted to continue with the program, if I remember correctly, because there was some concern. I had written a letter telling them that we were withdrawing, and then following that, we then had a meeting at which time we agreed that we were going to continue with the program, and that's where we're at.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
For clarifying that, yes. Now we'll go to the consent agenda. All members listed under item number 8, consent agenda, are considered routine by the council and will be enacted as one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items. If discussion of an item is required, it will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. So tonight's consent agenda is the payment of the bills. Is there a motion to pay the bills of $217,550.28?
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been supported. The motion has been made by Mr. Schroeder and seconded by Mr. McClendon that we accept the payment of the bills of $217,558.26. All in favor?
Tim, you have to have roll call.
Roll call, please.
It was moved by trustee Schroeder, supported by trustee McClendon, to accept the consent agenda as presented and place on file. Trustee Polito?
Yes.
Trustee McClendon?
Yes.
Trustee Reeves?
Yes.
Trustee Horky?
Yes.
Trustee Schroeder?
Yes.
Trustee Hickey?
Yes.
President Burdine?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Now we go under number 9, new business, the wastewater plant RFGs. This is for the council to select the WWT wastewater treatment plant operator. As council is aware, Manikin Smith Group are the current operators of WWTP. The contract for that service expires March 1st this year, and we have put a request for qualifications, have received 3 responses from firms: Manikin Smith Group, Monroe; F&V Operations, Grand Rapids; Operation Service, Yorkville, Illinois. Dave Ewell can certainly recognize that these outstanding firms have applied for the plant operator, but Dave must remind this council this is an extremely intricate plant and is very essential service to the community. The experience at Manikin Smith is unquestionably superior. The plant has several former plant operators, along with Dave Regal, who is an expert with the plant that he once was the plant superintendent for 30-some years. In addition, we are at a crucial point in our plant looking at foaming issues, treatment issues, and additional land acquisitions. Dave suggests that we would submit to the board that this is not the time to switch to another firm, especially in light that we have been and continue to be very pleased with the service that we are receiving from Manikin Smith, and especially our direct liaison, Todd Brown. If you would like to look at the RFQ, please stop by Dave's office to review the packets. Dave is recommending that we support Manikin Smith. What's the council's pleasure on this?
You want to add anything?
Yes, I do. Thank you. As Mr. Burdine read my summary to the council, as you know, I prepare these summaries at the direction of the council, and I very rarely give recommendations. I investigate things and present those to you. But I work with this plant every day and Manikin Smith, so I felt compelled to be a little more strong in my recommendation. As you know, we just completed some transformation in our plant with membranes. We're having some issues that we're working on because they're brand new with Suez. We also have some foaming issues that Manikin Smith is investigating that. We've sent some samples to a lab. So I just felt compelled to come before the council. This would be, even though the other companies, they're expert companies. And I'm not saying that they couldn't handle the operation, but it would be a mistake for us to switch companies at this time. And then I have Barry Bushman from Manikin Smith, and he also, at my request, brought along Dave Regal, that you guys know. Dave used to be our plant superintendent. He's worked down there for 32 years. He knows it up and down and back and forth and blindfolded. He is an invaluable resource to us. And Dave Conger, who has joined Manikin Smith, has run numerous plants, including Milan. And I can tell you that the people that Manikin Smith has assembled down in our plant is second to none. We have the most highly qualified people manning this plant, which makes me very confident what's going on down there. So I want to highly recommend that we do not change companies, and the council direct me to go into negotiation with Mr. Bushman and his staff on to a new 3-year contract with them. Barry is here to answer any questions, or if Barry'd like to say anything. And if you have any questions, please direct them through Barry. And if he needs to refer to his employees, he can. So Barry, if you want to come up.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, Barry Bushman, the Manikin Smith Group. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, we appreciate being able to run your plant for the last several years. I think some of the key issues, I think, with Manikin Smith is, as Dave mentioned, with the group we have running there, we have over 250 years of experience in personnel, most of them in senior level management running a wastewater treatment plant. And as I said, Dave Regal, who's been 32 plus years already running the Dundee wastewater plant, and Dave Conger, who's now on board with us, not to mention the rest of our team. These guys are available for call out basically 365 days a year. These guys are 15 minutes or less from your plant. And I can't tell you how many times, especially during wet weather flows, we get called out. And they're within 5 to 10 minutes to correct the situation and react. And I think proximity and knowledge go unchallenged. And we just want to say thanks for your confidence in using Manikin Smith, and we hope we can answer any questions and appreciate a vote of confidence in our favor. Thank you.
Is there any questions for Barry? I just want to say that I know David Regal for all my life, and I know he is really concerned about it. And when I do take an occasional visit out there, he always answers my questions and very polite. And everybody does a fine job out there, and I'm satisfied and very, very satisfied.
Thank you.
I think you guys do an excellent job.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
I just have one question. As far as the membranes are holding up, as from what we've done so far, is there any other problems besides the foaming issues that we have to contend with?
Well, we do obviously have some daily issues. Obviously, this plant's not a new plant,
right?
Just because we have some new membranes. So our guys are trained, and they know where some of the issues are. And actually, in the RFQ, we had put together some recommendations for some other improvements that we will need in the short term for the plant. But the major issues have been addressed. The foaming has certainly been one of them.
Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to support Manikin Smith for the wastewater plant treatment RFGs?
We're doing this on A and B or just A?
That we're doing A right now. Let's do A. Let's do them separately. So we need a roll call. First we need the motion. It's up to council's pleasure what you'd like to do.
I would like to make a motion for Dave to enter into negotiations with Manikin Smith for the wastewater treatment plant.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded for David Ewell to go into negotiations with Manikin Smith for the wastewater treatment plant. We need a roll call vote first, since nobody wants to have any discussion.
Seconded, I'm sorry.
Michael.
Mike. So we need a roll call vote now.
It was moved by trustee Hickey and supported by trustee McClendon to authorize village manager Yule to go into negotiations with Manikin and Smith for the wastewater treatment plant operations. Trustee McClendon?
Yes.
Trustee Reeves?
Yes.
Trustee Horky?
Yes.
Trustee Schroeder?
Yes.
Trustee Hickey?
Yes.
Trustee Polito?
Yes.
President Bodine?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Now we
Thank you
go
very
to.
much.
Yep,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Thanks, Barry. Now we go to resolution number 2020-04, a resolution to amend the 2019-2020 budget. This is a resolution, and has anybody talked with Robin since our last workshop meeting?
This isn't regarding the new budget, so the workshop meetings are on the new budget, so this would be an amendment to last year's budget.
Yep, 2019 and 2020.
And yes,
This is just a budget
amendment.
amendment for the mechanism to revise the working budget to reflect changes that occur throughout the fiscal year. Once this working budget is completed, it can be changed by a budget amendment. So then again, it's up to the council's pleasure. What would you like to do? Has anybody talked with Robin? Or have we got it all situated when we had our...
That's why you have more information in front of you regarding
Yep.
which items are actually being
Yep.
amended that was on our desk. Because yes, I did have conversations with Robin about the things that I wasn't too sure of, so she provided you additional information about each of those budget line items.
Yep.
I'm not sure if you
Yes, I
happened to
did.
go in and...
Yep.
I make a motion that we move forward with the amendments to the 2019-20 budget.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to move with the resolution number 2020-04 to a resolution to amend the 2019-2020 budget. Are there any questions? Any discussion here that we need to talk about?
No, I think Robin explained it with extra details on here to help us out.
Okay, since there's no further discussion, we need a roll call vote.
It was moved by trustee, trustee Schroeder is supported by trustee Reeves to adopt resolution 2020-04, a resolution to amend the 2019-2020 budget. Trustee Reeves?
Yes.
Trustee Horky?
Yes.
Trustee Schroeder?
Yes.
Trustee Hickey?
Yes.
Trustee Polito?
Yes.
Trustee McClendon?
Yes.
President Bodine?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Now we go to number 10, old business. The EGLE, formerly the DEQ consent order. This item 10A comes back to the council for approval for the final phase of our EGLE consent order from 2012 on I&I issues. As discussed in prior workshop, they reported on several questions from the council on the reason to continue with Tetra Tech on the final phase of this project. If council wants to go over this response from the workshop, please see Dave prior to the meeting. Has anybody done that?
Mr. Eichels, citizens' comments on
Please
the
don't,
non-agenda.
please.
Would you like to address him?
he can-
So he's, could,
We're not under citizens' comments.
that's what I'm trying to tell
But
him.
he's standing up there.
Because he walked up to the podium. I'm just trying
John,
to...
could you just sit there in the first seat until we, thank you. Be nice not to get interrupted.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr.
You're out of order,
Eichels.
you're out of order, just please,
I'm sorry, I was
please.
trying to be polite.
Thank you, thank you.
I apologize.
So now we're under the EGLE former DEQ consent order number 10A. Is there Any questions, and what would the council like to do? What's the council's pleasure here?
I move that we accept the consent order agreement with Tetra Tech.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we accept the consent order from Tetra Tech. Is there any discussion? Hearing none and seeing none. Shirley, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Okay, I'm going to rephrase this motion just a little bit to make it more clear, if you
Yes.
don't mind.
Sure.
Okay. It was moved by trustee Hickey and supported by trustee Schroeder to award the project performance certification work plan for the village consent order closure to Tetra Tech in the amount not to exceed $160,000.
Thank you for that.
Okay. Trustee Horky.
Yes.
Trustee Schroeder.
Yes.
Trustee Hickey.
Yes.
Trustee Polito.
Yes.
Trustee McClendon.
Yes.
Trustee Reeves.
Yes.
Trustee Burdine.
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Now we come to 10B under old business, selecting auditing firm. The council directed the manager to solicit bids and qualifications of new auditing firms, as it has been many years since bids have been solicited. Mr. Lucas was involved in this process with the staff, and we received 3 proposals for your consideration. It's Cooley and Hale, Sabo and Calkins. The present firm is in Monroe. Brent Shea, CPA, Morenci, Michigan, and Rayman, many locations of Ann Arbor, Toledo, Detroit are the closest ones. If anybody had any, if you wish to view these submittals, which apparently we all have, and you needed to see Teresa in the office. So now what's the council's pleasure for selecting an auditing firm?
I move that we accept Raymond as our auditing firm.
Second.
Is there any discussion? It's been moved and seconded to accept Raymond of the auditing firm. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I do want to thank Cooley, Hale, and Wongmouth and Associates for your hard work over the years. I do think it's time to have somebody else. It's nothing against you guys personally. I did really like their proposal. I know that they've done some really intricate audits. They work for the county. They're working for the school. I checked some people I knew that were affiliated with some of those places, and they had nothing but rave reviews. They had nothing but rave reviews about Mr. Clark, who was the person who submitted the proposal. And so I think that they would be a great person, a great auditing firm to choose. But again, nothing against Cooley and the rest of you guys, because I think you guys did a fine job up until now, but I do think we need a change.
Is there any further discussion? Well, I would like to stay with Cooley and Hale and Sabo and Calkins. So I guess I thought they did a good job, and I was willing to stick with them. We'll see what the council has to say. So let's have a roll call vote on selecting the auditing firm. And could you read the motion, Shirley?
It was moved by trustee Hickey, supported by trustee Schroeder, to award the auditing contract to Raymond Accounting. Trustee Schroeder?
Yes.
Trustee Hickey?
Yes.
Trustee Polito?
Yes.
Trustee McClendon?
Yes.
Trustee Reeves?
Yes.
Trustee Horky?
Yes.
President Bodine?
No.
The motion is carried.
Next, we have the upcoming training opportunities for the council. 11A is the Michigan DO 101 webinar, February 11th, 2020, from 10 to 11 a.m. And B, the iCompass training, February 18th, 2020, 1 o'clock to 3:45 p.m. Are there any council people that are going to be attending these seminars? Okay, now we go John, we're at citizens' comments now, and you may stand up and state your case.
John Michaels, 21 South Street, Dundee. I wear 2 hearing aids, and I still have a problem with not hearing what's going on. Can't hardly hear you. We got good mics up here. Get them in front of you so that we can hear. I know
Okay.
I'm an old geezer, but still, I like to hear what's going on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Ed of mine, thank you.
Thank you very much. Troy?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Troy Goodenough. I'm from Razorville Township, and I'm here this evening to introduce myself to those of you that don't know me and announce that I will be seeking the office of Monroe County Sheriff in the 2020 election. I graduated from Spring Arbor University with a bachelor's degree in organizational management and a master's degree of public administration from the University of Michigan Dearborn. As your sheriff, I will leverage all available resources to ensure that when the citizens of Monroe County call 911, a deputy sheriff will be available to respond. We will leverage technology to ensure that we deploy our resources where they're most and efficiently needed. We will do criminology studies and predictability studies to assist us with that endeavor. My leadership style is that of building bridges, collaboration, and I value teamwork to solve the problems that face us here in Monroe County. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck. Are there any other citizens' comments on tonight's non-agenda items? Larry?
Good evening. Larry Brossi, 411 Dunham Street. Rules and regulations and even laws are made with the idea of what a reasonable person would do. 6 of you voted for the village to go into business with Clean Tech. Clean Tech said they would provide holding areas for the trucks. I see the signs are up and down Dunham Street, even out in Ty Circle now. Did Clean Tech help pay for those? Or did the village pay for the time and material to put up a holding area for Clean Tech that they said that they would do? I don't understand it. It looks like we're just kicking the can down the road with Clean Tech. The trucks are now parked both ways on the west side of the street. And eventually we're going to move them down to Ty Circle on a 2-lane road down to Ty Circle and block off 1 lane to go around. It's all at the village expense, it looks like to me. Just as I said, don't trust Clean Tech. The 6 of you voted in favor of Clean Tech for the opportunity to delay or even vote no on the abatement that you voted the tax for Clean Tech. Clean Tech is not paying for anything, and we've let them get away with half of the budget that they should have been putting into the Dundee Village. You heard the argument against the expansion, but never looked at potential problems. Traffic, health, smell, noise, and the rights of the residents. You don't know about the traffic until I showed you pictures. You did nothing. You didn't even think about it. It's going to be on there for, it's happened for years and years it's been going on. If you haven't looked into this, you'd never have known it unless I brought you the pictures. When you have a big move such as Clean Tech, I would think it would be important to follow up in all the risk areas. I did this for years and I always looked to see the potential problems. risk management is what you should have been looking at when you guys even got involved with this. Risk management is very important to look and locate and know the problems that existed out there. I give them to you. The 6 of you voted in favor, even knowing the existing problems were there. Well, I tell you, you didn't look at them, and my time's running out once again. And you know what's happened here because you didn't follow up on anything and look involved, call the state, talk to the neighbors, do what you should have been doing before you even voted on this. I think now you guys, you also own the dirty bookstore.
Thanks, Larry. Is there any other citizens' comments on tonight's non-agenda items?
Howard Silly, 500 Roosevelt Street. First thing is this prison clock. That's what I call it, because I think we could be civil enough, we could put the hourglass back up there. And, you know, it's always the taxpayers and the citizens, like Larry, myself, and these people back here, that have to face this clock. No one else has to. I'd love to trade places with one of you people, let you come up here and see how you feel about that clock. I think we can be more civil than that. You could put up a little hourglass up there. That's intimidating for most people. But my main concern here is Roosevelt Street, the $800,000 that you want to pass on to the people. Well, let me read you something that's right out of the ordinance. Facilitating adequate and efficient provisions for transportation, sewage disposal, water, energy, education, recreation, and any other public service. That is what the village is supposed to provide for you. So for 83 years, Roosevelt Street should have been paved. But instead, it got neglected. Now, I'm not blaming this council. I'm not blaming you, Dave. The one thing you didn't get back with me, though, when I asked you in October how far the sewer system went on Roosevelt Street, I never did get a call on that. But that's fine. But I don't think this is anything that anybody who lives on Roosevelt Street should have to pay for. It was never done to begin with. And I know all of you up there live on a paved street, and I know you're not going to pay no $800,000. It's some of the things that you got when you come to a village. That's part of what the village owes the people. It says so right here in the ordinance. It's things they're supposed to provide. Okay, I'm not for when you got to redo the street, the special assessment, but I guess I could live with that. And we can go ahead, like Larry said, and give Clean Tech a break, tax breaks. We can give Sauvé Homes, give them down to $912 water rates, and then tap in fees and waive it. But we won't do it for the citizens. We all pay $4,100. Plus, we still got to pay if the street gets done, which I doubt it will, because most of them are going to vote against it. Who wants to pay $800,000 for something we've already paid for? I paid for it for 33 years. I've been paying the same kind of taxes that you people pay, the same kind of water and sewer you pay, but I just don't have it. And I guess if it comes down to it, and we need to build more green spaces, and we need to build more statues, then let's do that instead of taking care of the taxpayers that should have been taken care of. For 83 years, that street's been there. But we got neglected, you know. But we always find a way to spend money or give tax breaks or give free water taps to companies that once they're done, they leave. But we got 16 people that's building new homes. They're all going to pay $4,100. Boy, aren't we doing our citizens justice? That's really nice. And I think you people should put on the agenda, eliminate that prison clock, and let's go back to an hourglass. We're all civil enough that we could live with that. Just put one up there and set it up there. Okay, when it runs out, our time runs out. But nobody else has to face this clock. Nobody, some of these people that come up here, they don't have to face it. And I get people that ask me when I see them in Kroger's or see them at the gas station, they don't want to come up here because that clock intimidates them. At least you got it smaller. I'll give you one thing there. You did make a little improvement. But, and it was nice to see you, Mr. Schroeder, at my end of town having breakfast this morning. But this is something that the village is supposed to provide. It really is. And I think instead of wasting money on other things, these statues don't do anything for Dundee. Doesn't do one thing. It doesn't even go with our historic Dundee. But if you're gonna do this to the people and ignore taxpayers, what we should have had, what we've paid for all along, it's unfair, because none of you will ever have to face that. And I think it's not fair to me and the rest of the people on Roosevelt Street.
Thanks, Howard. Are there any other citizens that need to speak tonight on any non-agenda items? Hearing none and seeing none, we'll move on to the village manager comments.
Thank you. I've got one thing in particular I'm very excited to let the council know about. As you all know, that we are lacking power in our industrial park, and we've been working on that for a long time. With the help of Monroe County BDC, Tim Lake, and Mr. Bushman, who was in that organization. DTE has sat down with us. They've done a survey of the power, an audit of the power out there. They have now announced to us that they are moving ahead and going to pre-do all the engineering at their cost. They've selected a site to put the substation. If a company, which we get them every day, and when we can tell them we have to tell them there isn't any power, then they move on to a different location. And and a lot of times it's not in the county. They go down to Ohio, and we don't want to see that from Monroe County. So they are going to do this in pre-engineering, have everything all set. They take about 8 to 9 months off of the process by doing that. And also, if a company comes in and starts to look into the process, DTE is going to bring in temporary power to get them going, because they don't automatically come in and go at the top power. It's a gradual process. So they're going to supply that. They're now going to come and be part of our streamlining meetings that we're famous for. And they're going to participate from the beginning and stick right with the developer. And I mean, I couldn't be more pleased to hear that information. We've been working with Kenneth Wooten from DTE, and he has been fantastic to work with, and he is really pushing the substation here in Dundee, and he is an advocate of the area. He is also a new member of the streamlining group for Monroe County and the Monroe County Link. So he is very, very involved along with DTE. Today at Mr. Bushman's business in Monroe, ITC was sitting there in the meeting, and that's the company that does the huge big power lines. They spoke right up when they heard that from Kenneth, and pledged their cooperation if there's anything needed from them. So I think we're on a fantastic track, and I think we're going to be seeing some interest almost immediately, I hope, in our area out in the industrial park, especially when DTE gets the engineering all done. So very, very exciting news for the village.
Do they have a site plan right now?
No,
in order?
They're working on all that.
Okay. Anything more, Dave?
No, that's it.
Staff reports. Randy, you want to add in any more that what you've said tonight?
No, sir, that's all we have. Thank you.
Very good job. Council members, let's start with Andrea, please. Anything to say?
Dave, we approved this auditing firm, but I do have some concerns coming out of the budget workshop. I don't know if there's something more in depth that we can do looking into some of these funds and whatnot. I have concerns regarding the MERS and maybe our financial practices. And I'm not saying that anything's wrong, but I don't know if anyone else had concerns coming out of some of those meetings.
I too had some concerns, and we discussed them a little bit. I don't know where you're going with this, Andrea, but I would prefer that we start an in-depth audit as soon as possible. to try and get to the bottom of some of the questions that we had in our budget workshop.
I totally agree. Fred, would that need like a motion, or can we just direct Manager Yule to do that?
I don't think it requires a motion. Yeah, you can just direct. I don't think you have to have a motion. It's not, just.
Well, are we all in favor of having
If you'd like, I mean, it doesn't hurt to have a motion directing Dave to investigate.
Makes it more legal.
Yeah, I agree.
I was just gonna say, I think that since you have a new auditing firm coming in, I think what you need to do is to schedule time for to meet with I think you should maybe appoint a committee of three to meet with the new auditors and to express some of the issues that you raised during the course of the budget meeting and give them direction on how to proceed. I think that would make some sense in this particular, because of the fact that you're dealing with a new entity coming in. I think to provide them with some direction, to provide them with some idea of what the concerns are, I think it would make sense for the council to pick a committee to meet with the auditors and to discuss those issues.
Is anybody interested in being on that committee?
I'll be on.
How about four of us then?
Yeah.
I would like
That's
to
a
do
quorum.
four.
Gonna be three.
Three.
No? Three?
Then you start getting into open
Okay,
meetings.
all right.
It's fine,
Not
you
have a
guys.
quorum.
Yep,
You're fine.
gotcha.
You're fine.
No, go ahead, Alana.
So would you like to make a motion
We can't make a motion.
to,
We can just direct him. We're outside of it. We can't make a motion.
we can make a
make a
We
motion.
can go back and
We can make a motion to direct Dave.
To appoint
Yeah.
3 individuals to
Yep.
act as a committee to meet with the new auditors to discuss the plans moving forward.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm no issue with that.
Somebody gonna make the motion, or are you just gonna, it's up to council's pleasure here.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to, go into an in-depth audit, just checking into our financial practices, and appoint a committee of 3.
Is it okay, because we have a hard enough time getting, committees together and workshops, and can I proceed with, if Mr. Schroeder has a hard time during school, can I try to make, individually, is that okay?
Could we have the motion with the president and 2 council members directed that way?
It
I
should
don't-
be people knowledgeable in what's
Yeah,
in the budget.
I kind of, Dave said something that made me think that maybe Raymond might want to, the people who have concerns may want to interview them. So maybe a committee's not really the right thing, and we should get guidance from Raymond. Then if we have to appoint a committee, we can come back and we could suggest an actual committee. Whereas if Raymond wanted to talk with each one of us about our concerns coming out of it, because I would hate, if Michael has concerns and Elena has concerns and you have concerns, and if we all have something that we want to talk to them about, I would hate for us not to all have our voices heard. And the problem really is when we all, when we meet together, but if we're just voicing our individual concerns to the auditing firm in an interview.
Fred, could we have come to the workshop and all of us discuss with them?
Sure, as long, that's an open meeting, so they can come. There's no problem with that.
That would be a nice,
You can just invite them to the budget workshop.
Yeah.
That might actually make more sense. I like that idea.
okay. Is council okay with that?
So I just want to make a motion then to move forward with an in-depth financial.
I'll talk to them and get their
And-
suggestions, I'll invite them to the workshop, and then, if they would like to sit down with individual council members, I'll email you or call you to get a time set up with you.
Well, so I made the motion. If someone wants to second it.
I'll second it.
Them to do that.
There's been a motion on the floor and seconded. Shirley, could you read the motion, please?
As soon as I figure out what it is.
To direct Dave
To direct Dave to,
Okay, it was moved by trustee Hickey, supported by trustee Schroeder, to direct village manager Yule to contact the auditing firm of Riem. Is it Riem? Is that it? Raymond? Raymond, for doing an in-depth audit.
okay,
Okay.
all in favor?
No,
Or
I
we
don't have
need a
any
roll
roll
call?
there.
Roll call.
Okay. Trustee Hickey?
Yes.
Trustee Polito?
Yes.
Trustee McClendon?
Yes.
Trustee Reeves?
Yes.
Trustee Horky?
Yes.
Trustee Schroeder,
Yes.
President Burdine?
Yes.
Okay, motion's carried.
Is there anything more, Andrea?
Yeah, so the only other thing is we will have the public hearing for the Parks and Rec Parks and Rec grant. It has been advised that we would actually apply for both the Passport and the DNR Recreation grant. So you may have seen the public notice saying that there's going to be a public hearing for both those pieces. The DNR grant is getting, the competition's pretty tight for that grant. The scoring was off the charts for the projects. Every year, the DNR kind of picks a thing that they want to do, and they're really focused on establishing that Iron Bell pathway, trailway throughout the state, and so that's been their priority for the last few years. So it's been Lucy's idea to maybe also apply for the Passport grant, which is also a state of Michigan grant at the same time. So she's going to bring both of those projects. It will be essentially the same project, but the Passport grant is for less money, so it will be a smaller focus dollar-wise, so we won't get as much as we would if it was the DNR grant, but we'll see that in the public workshop in a couple of weeks.
Pastor, can you hear us back there? Officer Smith? Thank you. Brian, would you like to say something?
I'm good tonight.
Helena?
Yes, I was reading The Independent before I left here. I love that it comes on Tuesdays, so I can kind of get a little sneak peek of what is coming up. But Janet Salenbean, who is the township clerk, pointed out that the absentee ballots this year are going to look a little bit different. So if you requested one, I would encourage you to pay attention to your mail so that you don't miss out on that. So that's it.
Thank you. Danny, you're next.
Nothing to add. Thank you. Thanks all for coming, too.
Michael?
I'd just like to add that last meeting I noted that the application period was going to be January. That's when they found out exactly when your application period will be due by, will be July 21st for anybody that wants to run for a position for council.
Oh.
So you have until July 21st to see Janet Salenbean and get your paperwork in. That's all.
Jordan?
Nothing today, thank you.
Well, I'd like to thank everybody for coming tonight. And Larry, you know that I've walked around the neighborhood and I did not vote. And I appreciate you saying the 6, because you know that I was the one that voted no for Clean Tech and their expansion and stuff with tax abatement for the 15 jobs. And I know that there's still noise and odor, and I do believe that they could park their trucks on the yard in Ann Arbor Road and radio them in like we used to at Ford Motor Company. And let's see what else. Just like to thank the DPW again for doing a fine job. And Howard, you realize too that I voted no on the tap-in fees for Solvay homes in their houses. I just want everybody in the audience to know that. I don't see any further business, so tonight's meeting is adjourned. Thank you for coming.
Thank you guys for not arguing.
All right, family, have a good night.
Hi, have a good one.
Hello, Mr. Orbach. How are you today?
I wanted some, when I decided to drive, less than an hour.